Hey everyone, I'm Sandy. I'm an integrative healing practitioner. I'm the author of Heal Yourself, and I'm the founder of the Integrative Healing Academy. So the key to healing the foundation of Heal Yourself, which is my program that I've developed, is having a really holistic approach. We want to focus on rebuilding the body, rebalancing the body, repairing detox pathways, and removing stress. Those are the 4 R's that are so important, and it's going to give the body the best chance to heal. So we rebuild and rebalance and we repair by running labs. We've got to see what the body needs to heal, and we support it with supplements. And you can learn all about this in my book, Heal Yourself. You can get a free copy at www.gethealyourself.com. By removing stress, we mean removing chemical stress, emotional stress, and physical stress. So chemical stress is going to be toxins and pathogens. Emotional stress is very self-explanatory. Most of us are incredibly stressed out, whether it's our relationships, our work life, our kids, just taking on too much, not setting boundaries. This, I go in depth in this in my book, Heal Yourself. Physical stress, just being overworking, overuse. Like a lot of us are in front of the computer all day and it's causing a lot of tension in our neck and our back and poor posture. Or we might have a really physical job that's really using a lot of our resources. But today, I'm not going to talk about pretty much most of those. I want to dive deep into water. Whether you're going to be working to heal yourself, or you're a practitioner in the Integrative Healing Academy, or a practitioner in general, or whether you're just cleaning up your environment for your family, because we all want to prevent illness. We want to get our environment as clean as possible. Water is a really big thing. And it's very sad that our water, it really sucks. I remember when we lived in Barrie, we had access to spring water, and it was one of the freshest spring water sources in the world. And we were so spoiled. And when we left that, and I was really just getting into natural healing at the time, we put a filter on our shower just to remove chlorine, and we would run our bath whenever Kaden would bath or I would bath. We would run our bath through that water filter just to get the chlorine down and get some of the chemicals out. But they don't last very long, and you have to replace them quite often. And we had a zero filter, which removed a lot. It removes a significant amount of contaminants and makes the water really clean. And after going to a zero filter when we were in Canada, it was really hard to drink other water. And I know that that really changed for us. We were happy with that. And then we came to Florida. And I remember stopping at the first hotel in Florida. I'm like, wow, this hotel, there's something wrong with their water. It smells like sewage. This is disgusting. I can't even drink this. And I'm putting it through the zero filter, which we actually travel with our zero filter and filter our water all the time, and then store it for the day. So when we're making our trip back and forth to Canada, which takes us several days, we still have access to clean water. And the zero filter didn't take away the smell. The smell was still there, the taste was still there. And I'm like, this is a really disgusting hotel. And then we came to our house in Florida and it was the same. And I was really, really sad. So I started to look into, okay, what is causing this smell in Florida's water? And it turns out it is sulfate. I ended up finding a website that really shows what's in your water in the United States, which is really cool. And it tests all sorts of things, but it wasn't really explaining the smell. So I actually ordered a at-home test, and I found out that it was sulfate. And sulfate in general, for a lot of people, is actually good. For me personally, I don't do well with a lot of sulfur, and my body already produces a lot of it on its own. So I end up developing high ammonia levels. I have a genetic mutation that causes that. Hydrogen sulfide SIBO is another one that really doesn't do well with all of that sulfur. So I went on this quest to figure out, okay, what's in my water and how do I remove it? But what I found out, and I want to share my screen and show you, is I needed multiple filters. And at that time, we weren't really ready to invest in that. We knew that this wasn't going to be our forever home. So I just stuck with the zero filter and we ended up spending the year here. We kind of got used to it. And then we went back to Canada, and we don't have that smell anymore. But as soon as we came back to Florida this year, I'm like, you know what? We ended up staying here longer. We don't know when we're going to get our next property. We need to clean up our water because this is gross. And for me, I don't like the smell of the sulfur. So I'm going to share my screen here and go through kind of the process that I used to figure out what filter I needed. And it's the process that you can use also if you're in the United States or you have access to testing. So let's share my screen right here. And then I'm going to open up all of these windows that I have. Oh, I just have to click that. So this is a really cool website that's available in the United States where you go in and you type in your zip code. So 2784 is mine. And it's going to show you a list of utilities in and around here. So this is the town that's closest to me. We live in a really small town that's not actually on here. And it shows here 8 exceeded EWG health guidelines. And it says, remember, legal is not safe, right? Let's always remember that whenever we're putting anything into our body. So here we're seeing arsenic, chlorine, chromium, haloacetic acids, nitrate, radium, and trihalomethanes. So that's way above safe guidelines for a lot of these. So what I did, because we had the zero filter, I pulled up, okay, what is the zero filter filter? And basically zero is just a really advanced carbon filter. When you look at zero filter, it comes with a TDS meter, which measures your total dissolved salt lids. And so when I first got the zero filter many years ago, I started measuring everything. And a common thing that people in Florida will say is, we don't drink the tap water, it stinks, so we drink bottled water. Well, bottled water is full of dissolved plastics, which is gross. We are full of dissolved plastics. We don't need to keep adding more. So I will not drink out of bottled water, especially in plastic. Glass, okay. But you'll always, most of the time, unless I forget it, you'll see me with my own water. I carry my own water. So we don't want to drink out of plastic. We want to fix our tap water. And if we were in Florida and we got a well, it would be the same thing. When we eventually get land, we will be on a well. We are going to also filter our water and then test our water. So I actually tested using the test system because it wasn't showing me the sulfur, and I knew there was sulfur. So I used a test kit here. Where is it? I used the My Tap Score, and they have a bunch of just general tests, but they also have some add-ons. And I added the hydrogen sulfide bacteria because I'm like, okay, there's something sulfury in this lab. And I also tested for sulfates. And it turned out that it was sulfate. There was no hydrogen sulfide bacteria in the water. And there was no bacteria in it. So I did I think I did the extended city water test plus some add-ons. And we found out that it really just was the sulfate. The filter was doing its job for most everything. And the problem with this test is if you want to find out about the radium, which I could see here, like here is the radium in our water. It doesn't happen. It doesn't come in these normal water tests. You actually have to get a radiological test, and they're really expensive. So I'm really grateful that this website was here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. And I would have thought that these filters, the zero filter was working, but the zero filter doesn't work for that. So what I did, and what you would do, is pull up your zip code, and you're going to check. You're going to go here and say, okay, arsenic. What does the zero cover arsenic? Yeah, it does. Great. Really high percentage of it. And then you would also check your reverse osmosis list. So I'm going to include these links. You're going to look for arsenic. So there it is, 92 to 96%. So the zero filter actually removes more arsenic than the reverse osmosis. So then you would go here and you would do that for each one. And when I went through this list, it was when I came to the radium that I realized that the zero filter does not tackle it. So I have it here. our reverse osmosis filters are best for uranium and radium, where carbon filters are going to be best for radon and strontium. So when you do this, you're going to really realize that, hey, carbon filters are great for certain things. Reverse osmosis is great for certain things. And they don't both do everything. Like one of them is not doing everything. You kind of have to combine both of them, unless you go and you pull up your taps, your water score, and you're not seeing this. Like if you're not seeing any radiologics in your water, then you're probably good to just go with a zero filter, and they're super, super affordable. You can buy a zero filter for like anywhere from $30 to $50, depending on the size, and the replacement filters are only like 20 bucks. And for us, we drink a lot of water, and we would only be going through one a month. So it's definitely super affordable. But when I saw this radium, I was like, oh, right, we need to go a little bit further. I know that the reverse osmosis tackles it, but the downside of reverse osmosis is it wastes a lot of water. So when we fill up our reverse osmosis tank, half the water is drinking water, the other half is discard water, because that's the water that contains all of the contaminants. So we knew we wanted to do both, and I had some quotes come in for whole home systems for doing a carbon filter on the whole home. So that's going to really give us less chlorine, less fluoride, better bath water, better usable water. And it's going to act in Florida as that step one, because what I've found is you need to filter it twice in Florida to remove enough of the sulfate for your water to not smell. So that's filter one. It goes through, and some of these quotes were like $7,000, $8,000 for a whole home system. And I was like, that's ridiculous. We plan on moving. I'm not spending that. So I found this Evo water system. Let's see. And it's much more affordable. You can get, they always have all these discounts. I think I paid for the whole home carbon and the whole home salt-free softening was like $1,500 total. So they always have these really great savings on it. And it was shipped overnight, which was awesome. And we did get a plumber. It says you can install it yourself, but Eric and I are not good at that kind of stuff. So we had a plumber install it, and it cost about $500 to install. But it was definitely a more affordable option, and it's portable, so we can take it with us when we move. So I will share this link. That was the one that I found that was the most affordable. So we had it set up, and all of a sudden, our water doesn't smell as much. It still doesn't taste perfect. You can still sort of taste the sulfur, but my sense of taste is really, really strong. Eric doesn't taste it and doesn't have an issue once it's run through the Evo. But then we wanted to get that reverse osmosis to make sure, hey, we're pulling out the rest of the fluoride, we're pulling out as much radium, and getting our water as clean as possible. So I will share the link. I didn't pull up the reverse osmosis system that I went with. We went with an over-the-counter one, just because it's we want to move, and we didn't want to drill into our counter and do all that sort of stuff. So we went with an on-the-counter one. It's very quick. It's very easy to use. And then we took it a step further, and I'm just going to stop sharing for 1 second. So we, in the past, I've done a lot of research, and I've seen a lot on water structure. And we know that filtering, negative thoughts, that sort of stuff can actually break down water structure. It forms these beautiful crystalline structures. And when it's exposed to different filtration system, different chemicals for filtering, the whole process of recycling the water for city water, it loses its structure. And we can actually restructure it with quartz. So our system is, it goes into the Evo for the whole home. It comes, we put it in the reverse osmosis for our drinking water. And then I take the water every evening, and I fill up mason jars full of water with quartz crystals in them. And the quartz is said and shown to restructure the water in about 12 hours. So we restructure our water, and then from there, because we're removing all the minerals, like when you drink spring water, it's going to be full of usable minerals, good minerals for the body. So it's very healthy, very whole for the body. It's went through and been filtered through the earth and is what we're meant to drink. And here we are drinking this very unnatural water that we're basically pooing, peeing in, recycling with chemicals and all of these things that we're doing to our water. We want to remineralize. So we want to restructure and we want to remineralize. And that's where you can use something like concentrate drops. I will just put a couple of drops in each of my big mason jars with the quartz crystals at night, so that when we do use that water for the following day, it is going to be clean. It's going to be not having any contaminants in it, and it's going to be restructured and remineralized. So it definitely is a process, and one not everybody is going to need to do a whole home. If you have decent water, if you want to either test your water or you want to pull up your list, not everybody's going to need a whole home. Some places actually have good water. Like there's some city water in Florida that is actually run from a spring. So it's much, much better. It's still going to be going through that recycling process, but it's much better than what we're getting from the where we are, where it just smells like sewage. So there's different water all around the world. Some cities aren't even putting fluoride in the water yet. Most have transitioned to it. So we want to really clean up our water as much as possible. But what you need is going to depend on where you are. Definitely in Florida, we need a lot. So check what you need and get your water set up. And yes, it's not going to happen overnight for most people. It's going to be a process. You're going to have to do some research, see what filter is best for you, whether you need to do a carbon or a reverse osmosis. But it's always good when you can. And, you know, some days we forget to do our water at night and we just drink it without it being restructured. But if you can restructure your water and you can remineralize it, it's just giving you something that is right for your body. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you guys benefit from it and put this in place for your family, for yourself, and if you're a practitioner, for your clients. And if you're interested in working with me, you can go to sgintegrativehealing.com. I'm still taking on clients, just a limited number. And if you're interested in doing what I do, definitely check out the Integrative Healing Academy. That's www.integrativehealingacademy.com. I teach you everything that I know and that I do with analyzing labs. You get to learn how to analyze the labs yourself, design protocols for your clients, and work off a really holistic model that has a really good proven success rate. If you do have any questions, just send me an email at info@motivatedtoheal.com.